No one wants to live paycheck to paycheck forever, but it's a hard cycle to break. Today, I'm going to share with you my 8-step payday routine that helps me maintain productive money habits right when I get paid to reach my financial goals. This video will give you clarity on what to do once you receive your paycheck. Plus, towards the end, I will reveal a psychological trick that helped me double my savings rate. First, you want to allocate money towards your essential living expenses. I would prioritize things that allow you to keep on earning money and living a minimal existence. For example, I have listed the 4 essential living expenses of housing, utilities, groceries, and transportation to get to work. However, for you, this maybe also means that you will need to keep on paying for needed medication, as this is an integral part of your essential living expenses. A general rule is to keep these costs under 50% of your take-home pay, but in today's cost of living crisis, this can be a challenging task. So when I started out on my financial journey, I used this as an additional reason to question certain lifestyle decisions, such as in which area do I live? In which country do I live? How big is the apartment or house I'm living in? And then I was thinking about if there was a way to reduce these costs somehow by making some changes. It is about short-term sacrifices for long-term gains while finding a balance that doesn't sacrifice too much of your quality of life. The next step is to focus on paying back high interest debt first before worrying about other savings or investments. High interest debt is anything with an interest rate above 7 to 8%. There are 2 popular options for paying off debt: the snowball method and the avalanche method. With the snowball method, you start by paying off your smallest debt first while making minimum payments to the rest. Once the smallest debt is gone, you move on to the next smallest one. The idea is that by getting rid of the smallest debt first, you build momentum and feel motivated to keep on going. The avalanche method is a little different. Here you focus on paying off the debt first with the highest interest rate, while still making minimum payments on your other debts. This method can save you more money in the long run because it reduces the amount of interest you have to pay. Now you might ask, why should I focus on paying off my debt first? Isn't the goal to save money? I was actually super surprised too when I learned about personal finance. But paying off high interest debt is actually a smart way to save money, especially compared to what you might earn from investing that money. Let's say you have $1,000 in credit card debt with a 24% interest rate, which according to LendingTree is the average credit card interest rate in the US. And each month you are making a payment of $100. If you focus on paying off the debt, you will owe less and less each month. After 10 months, your debt will almost be gone with about $100 spent on interest. Now, if you decide to invest that $100 each month instead with an 8% average return, your investment would grow to around $1,034.50 after 10 months. But here's the problem. If you don't pay off your credit card, the debt will grow to $1,219 because of the high interest rate. So even though your investment grew by $34.50, your debt grew by $219. This means you would lose more money by not paying off the debt first because the debt's interest rate is much higher than the investment's return. Now you want to build a small money cushion that covers 1 month's worth of living expenses. I started building mine even though I was still paying off my debt. And here's why. First, the psychological factor. Believe it or not, having just 1 month's worth of living expenses saved up already made me feel so much more secure. Every time an unexpected bill came in, I used to panic. My heart raced, I broke out in a sweat, and you probably know the drill. But knowing I had my little money cushion, I was now cool as a cucumber. My more relaxed mindset and the motivating feeling of accomplishing my first money goal helped me stick consistently with the rest of my payday routine. And second, covering for emergencies without going further into debt. Having at least saved up 1 month's worth of living expenses will help you cover any unexpected costs outside of your budget. We all know life is full of surprises we can't foresee. For example, my boyfriend and I use our car a lot, which makes it very likely that unexpected costs occur. So if it suddenly needs repairs, I can dip into that cushion without going into debt. When it comes to this step, I learned that it's all about different countries, different rules. Many employers offer a matching contribution to your retirement savings plan. Make sure you're contributing at least enough to receive the full employer match, as this is essentially free money that can significantly boost your retirement savings. You will also want to check out any tax-advantaged retirement accounts available in your country before moving on to the next step. As mentioned, it all depends on where you live. From my research, I know that this is very common in the UK or the US in the form of a 401k or Roth IRA. In Germany and Sweden, money for retirement is usually automatically being taken from your paycheck as a fixed percentage paid by the employer as part of the social contributions. In the Netherlands, nothing was contributed for me, so it was up to me as the employee to plan for the future. Since you probably want to maintain your quality of life when you retire and have enough money saved for emergencies, step 5 and step 6 will be especially important. So next, you want to build up on your money cushion and grow it into an emergency fund. In opposed to your money cushion, this will help you cover even bigger unexpected expenses and break the cycle of ever going back into debt. For that, you want to set aside money in a high-yielding savings account. Ideally, save 3 to 6 months worth of essential living expenses. It should be easily accessible to make sure that you can quickly make use of that money in case of any emergencies. And also in the savings account that earns you high interest to beat inflation. The total amount depends on your personal situation after all. For example, do you have a partner who can help you in case of an emergency? Then it might be more towards the 3 months mark. Or are you the sole provider of the family? Then it might be more 6 months. And the amount to save might be a bit higher as well. Or maybe you have an unemployment insurance through your employer. Then it might be something in between to cover the expenses until the payout starts, or to cover the difference between the money you receive and the living expenses you have to keep your quality of life. As mentioned before, I couldn't take advantage of any employer contributions or tax advantages when it came to my retirement savings. That's why all of my additional savings go directly into my investment portfolio through a broker account. This step is super important, and it is one that I missed for far too long. But I truly believe it is never too late. The problem is with just leaving your hard-earned money on a checkings account is that it will lose its value over time due to inflation. Maybe you can buy your favorite bread at the supermarket for $3 right now, but to enjoy it over the next 10 years, you might end up paying $4.03 due to an average inflation rate of 3% per year. Your buying power will decrease significantly in the upcoming years. And not only that, by investing your money, you can make it grow and leverage the positive effects of time and compounding. Let's take a look at Sarah and Alex. Alex and Sarah both save $150 monthly for retirement over a period of 15 years. Alex keeps his retirement savings in a high-yielding savings account with a 3% interest rate. Sarah, on the other hand, decides to invest her money through a broker account into a low-cost and low-risk index fund, for example, the MSCI World, with an annual return rate of 10%. The difference in returns is huge. Both leverage time and compounding. But since Sarah has invested in an index fund with a 10% return rate, she ends up with significantly more money. Remember that I talked about a psychological trick that helped me save more money? Well, here it is. Adopting the pay yourself first mindset for my emergency fund and retirement savings. This mindset completely changed the way I think about saving. I first came across this concept in the book, The Richest Man in Babylon. It's based on the idea that you treat your savings like a monthly bill that you have to pay at the beginning of each month. This little mindset shift alone helped me double the amount of money I save. I started seeing my life as a growing and thriving business that I actively manage rather than just collecting a paycheck. And part of that growing business is the next step of the routine. Think about any short-term goals you have outside of your retirement savings and allocate a percentage of your paycheck to them. These could be anything that requires saving up a larger sum, like a down payment for a house, or saving for your children's education, or your summer vacation. The percentage you allocate depends on your personal situation. I always make sure not to have more than 3 financial goals at the same time. I prioritize based on what is important and allocate more savings to that goal. Once I reach one of these goals, I can add a new one. One of my recurring short-term goals is traveling, and it has been a priority for me, whether I had a lower or higher salary. For example, let's say you decide to allocate 8% of your paycheck to your short-term savings goals. Your priorities might be as follows. First, summer vacation. Second, down payment for a house. Third, children's education. If your biggest priority is the summer vacation, you might allocate 5% for that, 1.5% for the down payment, and 1.5% for your children's education. Making this part of my payday routine has ensured that I could reach my financial goal of traveling at least 4 times a year, regardless of my salary. After covering all essential needs and financial goals, use the remaining money for discretionary spending or personal enjoyment. While habits and routines are needed to reach my financial goals, which can be seen as a constraint at first, it's important to keep a balance between spending on your current self and saving for future you. So what I do is I allocate the remaining part as sort of an allowance for myself, just like back in the days when you received a monthly allowance from your parents. It's usually not a lot because most of it goes into my holiday savings, but it's money I can spend 100% guilt-free on whatever I want in that very moment. Technically, I could even spend it impulsively because it's already accounted for in my budget. However, I still use my 1-day rule before purchasing. Before buying something, I keep the item at least 1 day in the shopping cart to decide whether to buy it or not. The nicest part of this approach is by keeping a little bit of freedom in my budget, I have paradoxically started reflecting more on how I spend this money. For example, if I see an influencer promoting like a pair of jeans, my first instinct is, oh nice, they look great, I need them. More often than not, I realize that the freedom that comes with paying off my debt outweighs the feeling of having a new pair of jeans. And even if you don't develop the same tendency as I did, it's okay because you have budgeted for it. Again, it all depends on your personal goal. But all the steps above will be very hard to implement if you haven't built the right habit around your spending behavior or money mindset. And if you found this video helpful, it would mean the world to me if you would give this video a thumbs up, hit the notification bell as well as the subscribe button, and join the community as it grows. So see you next time. Bye.